Welcome back to Great Grace and Growth. I'm your host, Laura Navaquin, and today we are diving into the art and strategy behind building unstoppable partnerships that can fuel your business success and brand growth. So, whether you're in the early stages of your business or scaling to new heights, the partnerships that you form can make all the difference. Today, our guest, Melissa Richards Pearson, a marketing powerhouse with 25 years of experience diving into a global brand engagement, and loyalty. Melissa has worked across the 4 continents and speaks 5 languages, leading brand strategies for major names like KFC, Papa John's, Starbucks, and Olive Garden. Her unique perspective and expertise in brand led growth have made her an invaluable advisor to C suite leaders and founders alike. I'm excited to learn from Melissa's insights on how we can create partnerships that truly move the needle. All right, Melissa, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you today.
Thanks so much, Laura. I'm so excited to be here.
So, I know you have a career leading with major brands across the globe. Before I jump into a number of questions that I have for you, can you just share with us what your experience had been and what your story is before you went out and founded your own organization, Third Arm?
Yeah, absolutely. My entire career really has been about connecting people to things that they're passionate about.
Hmm.
I started very early in my career with special events and sponsorship and worked for major organizations that put on huge events, learned a lot about what it takes to make those great and what it takes to create great experiences. Moved on to advertising and PR agencies, and worked with media companies and radio stations and events. Then I jumped onto the brand side and I worked with Olive Garden and their genuine Italian dining experience, and I think found my love for wine. And then I moved to Starbucks, learned all about coffee, and learned about community partnerships and events. Then moved to Louisville, Kentucky, where I live now, and worked for KFC in marketing, and then worked for a number of smaller organizations. Finally ended up at Papa John's, where
Hmm.
I got to learn about partnerships and marketing on a local scale, a national scale, and then an international scale. I took the international business, partnering with our team across the globe from 28 countries to 42 countries. We grew stores by over 1,000 and had an amazing run. And I learned so much about people and cultures and empathy and understanding. And then I came back to the domestic business when we had some PR challenges and reputational crises and helped turn things around and launched stuffed crust pizza, launched the shakaroni, launched papadillas, and had an amazing run through the end of 2021. Worked on some smaller brands as a fractional chief marketing officer, and then started Third Arm Consulting to help guide discovery and launch and build brands.
Yeah, I love that. And definitely an impressive background there. And if I may ask, since you had such a successful and impressive background, what motivated you or led you to leave behind that career path and start your own organization?
It was really two different things.
Hmm.
One was professional and one was personal.
Okay.
I had worked with a ton of really big brands.
Hmm.
But the thing that I enjoyed the most and learned the most from was points of catalyzation and change. When you hit a spot that you said, uh oh, we've hit a plateau, or uh oh, we've um, gotten to a point where we need to create a turnaround or we need to do something different. And I always seemed to be the one that jumped into the void and said, okay, I'm going to help figure out what's next. And I really wanted to do that for emerging brands and brands that were on their next level of growth, where I got to work one on one with a founder or work with a small team. And so I wanted to do that in a way for organizations that really maybe weren't ready to hire a full-time chief marketing officer, or organizations where you had a leader of marketing that wanted to clone themselves and get just a few more things done to create growth, to go into a new area, to reach new markets, or to launch new products. And so that's where the name Third Arm came from, is either marketers wanting to clone themselves, and sometimes just wanting someone to talk to know, to bounce off ideas and think, I'm not crazy, right? This is the right path to go, but also to help emerging companies. And I felt like I could do that a little bit better working on my own. But then personally, and I think it's really important to normalize this, you get to a certain age and your parents get to a point where they need more of your time. My dad at the time was in his mid 90s. I'm blessed that he is now 98, but he needs more of me. He needs more of my
Mhm.
time. He needs more of my headspace. And so I have the flexibility this way to do things like yesterday when he needed to go to his doctor's appointment, and I could stop, go get him, take him to his doctor, be with him through that, and then drop him back off home, and then pick up and go back to
Mhm.
doing some work. So
Yeah, that's great. I love your story there and your reasoning for going out and starting your own organization. I also love the creativity and the meaning behind your organization's name, the Third Arm, because I know many of us feel like we wish we could have another arm or a double of ourselves sometimes. So I love that as well. But let me transition a little here. I know that today's episode is also about speaking about unstoppable partnerships. And I want to ask you, from your own experience, what's the foundation for building partnerships that not only work, but also become unstoppable forces of growth to move us and build those relationships and move our businesses to the next level?
yeah, I think there's two ways to think about partnership, and it's in the business context and it's in the personal context.
Mhm.
And in the personal context, it's all about nurturing relationships. Um, Someone very early in my career at Starbucks, a someone senior to me, was actually trying to give me some constructive criticism that we had a partner that we were trying to work with, and some big news had happened, and I
Mhm.
didn't even know about it. And what she said to me was, you need to not just care about the individual or care about the entity in the organization, but you need to care about what's happening. You need to celebrate their successes with them. You need to help them understand that they see you, that you see them
Mhm.
as human beings, as real people, and that it isn't just about whatever business you have together. It's about the fact that you're going to be spending time with them. So, what is it that you can do to show them that you're paying attention, that you're
Mhm.
listening to them, that you're expecting and assuming and thinking about their needs maybe before they even are. So, sometimes it's just about sending an encouraging word, making a phone call at the end of the week, or leaving a text saying, hey, I know we haven't talked this week, but I
Mhm.
hope that things are going really well. Or I saw this piece of news and I just wanted to say, way to go. It's about having the recognition that people are entire whole human beings, and they are more than the sum of whatever the professional interactions you're having with
Mhm.
them. So that personal and relationship building side, there's an amazing book called Super Connectors that
Mhm.
I've been recommending to everybody. It's not really about partnerships per se, and it's not really about conversations. It's really about how you establish rapport and relationships, and build connection. So I think it's a great book. It's only come out, I think, in the last year and a half. So It's great on the personal side. On
Yeah,
the
it's great.
professional,
I'm
yeah,
gonna Oh,
go
yes, I
ahead.
was just gonna mention that I'm gonna note that down as well so I can look for that book. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, 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 no. I was gonna transition to the professional side,
Mhm,
and on the professional side, it's knowing your brand, it's knowing who you are, and knowing what your objectives are in order to understand how your objectives and your brand equity or brand audience or your footprint contributes to the partner and vice versa.
mhm,
Um, I find a lot of times companies or brands are chasing a superficial benefit with a partner. Oh, I just want the benefit of their increased distribution without understanding what they bring to the table because it is a partnership. It isn't
mhm,
just about what can I get out of you. It's about what am I bringing to the table and how does that benefit you? And maybe what of the things I'm bringing to the table might you not even have thought of already?
mhm,
And it's about how you understand how to shape that partnership and how to use that partnership to fulfill goals.
mhm,
Uh, One of the things that I know going into a partnership is what of my brand equity or what of the brand that I'm working with, what of their equity is really strong and can benefit or be lent to a partner or shared with a partner,
mhm,
or who truly is my core customer and what does that core customer think about, is passionate about, cares about, is meaningful. And then what are the business outcomes I'm trying to drive? Because the other thing with partnerships is that there's always a business outcome. The business outcome might not be sales. The business outcome might be employees or employee engagement. The business outcome might be building reputation or building awareness, but there's always a business outcome.
mhm,
And then it's also about thinking about the physical and tangible and intangible assets that you're bringing to the table
mhm,
and how you place a value on those so that you make sure that those partnerships truly are win-win.
mhm,
Uh, and that you're very open and honest about those. When you know what you bring to the table, when you know what kind of outcomes you're achieving or trying to achieve, and you know what the value of that is to you, you're going to be able to have much more transparent, much more honest discussions with a potential partner. And that just leads to trust and respect.
mhm. Yeah, I think several takeaways I have from all that information that you just shared. Of course, having that personal relationship and reaching out and making sure that it's a genuine connection in addition to the business aspect of it. But then also having the information when you're presenting to your partnership as far as what are their takeaways, what are their wins, what are you going to be able to provide them, and whatnot. So, can I take that back and scale that down a little further here? In some of our small businesses or for us new entrepreneurs or small business owners, how would you recommend we approach partnerships on a smaller scale? So that's a lot of information that you just provided. Perhaps pitching an idea for a partnership or presenting by providing them statistics and information of that sort when proposing a partnership, as far as here are your takeaways and how this partnership would benefit you as well.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
trying to think how it'd be applicable. Of course, it's applicable for small businesses, but trying to scale it down and how somebody would go out and implement uh, your skill set when they are a small business.
Sure. I mean, I'm doing it right now myself,
Mhm.
to be honest. So I think about it. I'm a solopreneur consultant.
Mhm.
And I think about who my ideal clients are and in what businesses they're in. And one of the things that I have a lot of experience in is turnarounds and
Mhm.
turnaround in really difficult environments. Um,
Mhm.
so who in that space might be someone that I could align myself with where it would be a win-win? Well, one of the groups that I'm reaching out to actually is bankruptcy attorneys.
Mhm.
Because in a lot of cases, bankruptcy attorneys are dealing with not necessarily businesses that are dissolving, but businesses that are in crisis and are seeking funding to turn around.
Mhm.
So, why is it beneficial for them to partner with me? Well, very easily they become even more valued to their clients and to the people who are working with their clients, because not only can they say, I'm going to shepherd you through all the legal parts of this, but when they're at some of their most frightening and most critical moments, he can say, here's someone that you can talk to that is going to help you think through how to preserve the brand equity or the customer loyalty or the abilities that you have. And as you're talking to lenders or you're talking to the people who might purchase your company, she's going to help you position yourself in the best way possible to help you get
Mhm.
out of this. So that's just one example of what do I bring to the table? I bring experience in helping companies position themselves for a turnaround or talk to people who are going to help finance and fund their turnaround.
Mhm.
What does the bankruptcy attorney get out of it? Credibility, a deeper relationship with their client, and maybe a few more billable hours in making that introduction. So, really small scale down. I had a
Mhm.
meeting yesterday with someone who has a snack product,
Mhm.
and their snack product, they're already sold out on their website. So they're looking for their next layer of growth, and they're looking, as they're thinking ahead, they're thinking about how they can market themselves. And they're already thinking about, well, do I meet up? Or do I try to do some sampling? Do I try to do PR? And one of the things I suggested was, don't think of people who already are thinking about snack brands.
Mhm.
Think about things like a spice company. Who cares about your brand and your type of business? You've got all natural snacks. The differentiator is the fact that they're cooked in a very specific type of oil.
Mhm.
And the people who care about that are the people who pay attention to ingredients. So, what if you went to a spice company that is doing fresh spices and you suggested a recipe where they toss your snack in their spices and you promote one another on your social media?
Mhm.
And again, it's very easy. You can reach out to someone in their Instagram DMs. You can look on Google. You can hit the info on their website. You don't have to have lots of money. You don't have to have a huge marketing staff. You don't even have to have someone like me.
Mhm.
It's founder to founder. It's business owner to business owner. If you're professional services, who who else does your customer have in common with you? And how do you just make those introductions?
Mhm.
Sometimes one of the things that I've seen be really successful for companies is if you're on LinkedIn as a founder, as a sole business person, or as a small brand, lift up another small brand.
Mhm.
Lift up another founder who you happen to sit next to on the train in the morning and struck up a conversation with. Take a quick selfie, hype them up, talk about their business, tag their business. Sometimes just putting that positive energy out in the world starts you down the road of a potential partner.
Mhm.
Tell your founder story. One of the best people I've ever seen in using their story, their journey on LinkedIn, both to promote their business and to attract like minded partners, is a woman named Stephanie Stuckey. You can find her on
Okay.
LinkedIn. She was a third or fourth generation of the family that owned a roadside restaurant and store called Stuckey's. If
Mhm.
you are Gen X like me, you might have grown up seeing them as you drove down roads to Florida or to the beach or to heavily tourist destinations. They were known for a signature pecan roll, pecan log candy that you could only get there. And she bought the brand and the formula out of bankruptcy. And by herself, just started down the road to turning it around. And she's been incredibly successful in growing, but she posted every single day talking about the journey. And as
Mhm.
she talked about the journey, she attracted like minded partners along the way.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look her up as well. That's quite inspiring as well. I know with all the information you just provided, one of the things that made me think of is just in even recent months for myself is the realization that partnerships aren't always directly related, as in, let's partner with one another. This is what I'm going to offer you, what you offer me, and what a traditional idea or preconceived idea of what a partnership is, but also kind of getting out of that traditional concept and realizing that partnerships as well are very exactly what it is that you're saying. It's uplifting another small brand. It's referring people over. If perhaps I come across an opportunity and that's not aligned with my business, but I know other individuals that I have met and entrepreneurs that I can refer them over to, type of thing. And then also, uh, even thinking of my own experience in recent months, is realizing how you can partner with individuals who are having hard times. So some of my recent partnerships that I realized was a partnership and how I'm actually aiding them is that uh, individuals that are having financial struggles or success, and how my capabilities or services can help get them out of some of those tough times and alleviate them. And those are not necessarily conversations that anyone really wants to have because you're having financial difficulties, but let's look at some solutions that can assist you through those difficulties and still get you out on the other side in the best place possible, type of thing. But just being open minded that partnerships aren't always uh, what we traditionally, I think many of us traditionally think a partnership is, and you and I partner with one another, and this is what I'm going to provide you, and you provide me, type of thing, directly relating our businesses. It's so much more than that on how we connect with individuals and can build partnerships that last decades,
Yeah, and
years to
it's
come.
it's a really easy 3 steps to think about, or in a really
Hmm.
easy framework to think about. It's equity, outcomes, assets.
Hmm.
And again, that sometimes sounds transactional, but it's an easy way to think about it. Equity. What
Hmm.
is it that you innately possess that
Hmm.
is of value to a potential partner?
Hmm.
Outcomes. What is it that you want to achieve? Tangible, intangible, emotional, financial, relational. Um, what are those outcomes? And assets. What are the assets that you bring to the table? Whether that's your personal Instagram, or it's your speaking ability,
Hmm.
or things that you can put a value on that you're sharing one to one. It might also be payment, but
Hmm.
it's always that equity, outcomes, assets framework.
Yeah, that's great. And overall, I know that you've seen many partnerships evolve over time. Would you say that there are any common pitfalls or mistakes that businesses make when trying to build lasting partnerships and relationships that can be avoided?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, it's not understanding that there is a human aspect to this. There is a relationship. This is a relationship before it is a partnership.
Mhm,
And a partnership can be governed by whatever the agreements are, or the contracts, or the structures that you put around it. But it
mhm,
has to be a relationship first. There has to be trust. There has to be some sort of connection that you're making.
mhm,
The second one is that it feels forced. And that's where knowing yourself, that's why I always say start with who you are, who your company is, what your mission is, what your brand is. Because the fastest way to inauthenticity and for something feeling off, fake, doesn't work is for you to be doing something that doesn't that isn't true to you.
mhm.
Um, those are the ones where you go, "Ooh, this is cringy. Ooh, this
Yes.
is trying too hard." Or again, when you're thinking about it just one to one, it's if you don't really connect with someone, then and that someone is going to be a partner, then maybe you shouldn't do the partnership.
Mhm,
Um, and sometimes you just don't connect with someone, and that's okay. It's better to do that because every time you have an interaction with that person, it's going to feel off.
mhm,
Um, the third one is when, from either an ego or an embarrassment standpoint, someone doesn't step in and say, wait a second, let's take a pause and reevaluate what we're doing, talk about the direction that we're going, um, understand, make sure we still have the same objectives and that maybe something else isn't happening here, because people start to think, well, the ball is rolling. We're already down the road. I've already signed a contract. I've already signed a referral agreement.
mhm,
Before things go wrong, it may feel embarrassing. You may have to say, I made a mistake, or I maybe jumped too soon. And that's a little bit of an ego hit,
mhm,
but it's important to stop, because usually when you're feeling like something's off, that's a signal and that's an indication. And if one partner or the other doesn't stop, the outcome is just going to be worse.
mhm.
Um, and that's a hard thing to do, but that's a point where things can really go off the rails.
Yeah, such great points there too. And again, just that reminder with the first one that you made is that having those genuine relationships, not necessarily just going into a partnership, it being so transactional, as in this is what I'm going to give to you and what I can get from you, but really taking the time to build genuine relationships and build that trust. It just it just relates back to how well that partnership will work once it gets going by having that established relationship in the beginning. Um, or at least that's
And
what I've seem to have experienced in my own personal experience as
and
well.
your partners become part of your business family.
Hmm.
Um, and I think of them as stakeholders in your business,
Hmm.
because you're sharing something of yourself, or something of your brand, or something of
Hmm.
your business with them, and they're doing the same for you. I'll use a quick Papa John's example. Whenever we were launching a new product, I would look at all of our existing partners and I would think, can I send a bunch of this new product to those partners? And
Hmm.
it wasn't anything more than they were part of our brand family, and we had something new that we were excited about.
Mhm.
And it didn't have to mean that they were going to come back and go, "Oh, I have this idea." I remember when we launched the chocolate chip cookie, the big chocolate chip cookie, and I was sending cookies left and right. And I think I probably spent about $5,000 sending
Mhm.
cookies before I was done. And those cookies, there was a lot of cookies because I think those cookies were only $3 or $4.
Mhm.
But it was important because those that was both building and furthering the personal relationship that I had with that person, who
Mhm.
led that partnership. It was sharing Papa John's as a partner with whomever was in their office, whomever they were with, but also sometimes ideas came back
Mhm.
out of that partner. "Oh, hey, I didn't think about it, but we were talking about this cookie and we were saying, hey, we could do this thing for you. Would you be
Mhm.
interested in that?" And it sometimes also feeds new ideas.
Mhm.
So it's important to think of them as a part of all of your initiatives and think, okay, how is this initiative great for my customers? How is this initiative great for my team members or my employees, but also for my partners?
Yes. That's great. Well, I do want to transition back over to Third Arm, your organization, your business. If you can share just a little bit more about your services that you offer for entrepreneurs and small businesses alike. And I know that you have a process that you share out to others. If you can elaborate on that a little as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I do at Third Arm Consulting is I provide pathways to growth
Mm.
using the inherent DNA that makes you or your brand unique. Everybody founds their company, they create their company, they create a product for a reason. They're solving a problem, they see a gap in a marketplace. Well, I believe that those are the essence of your brand, what I call brand
Mhm.
DNA. Everybody has brand DNA. It's the things that make you you. If you take them away, you are a competitor. You're no
Mhm.
different than any other service from me, any other consultant, any other agency that someone could hire. And that DNA can become your roadmap to growth. It might be how you create new content series for Instagram
Mhm.
or LinkedIn or TikTok, or it might lead you to do something unique on Pinterest. It might actually be thinking through your customer journey and how you can distinguish yourself at a really key point in the customer journey by providing a particular service or a particular means. It might be a new product that you launch or a series of products that you launch after this first one. Everybody has that unique DNA, and I provide some really easy programs from what I call a strategic planning jumpstart to brand DNA mining to brand springboard. All of them are under $10,000. So, and they're as little as $2,000. So they're really affordable for small businesses and
Mhm.
growing and emerging brands to get started down that path. But then I also provide things like fractional chief marketing officer services. If you have really talented marketers who are doing all of your execution and you need to access someone on demand
Mhm.
to just help them with strategy every quarter, or you want to check in with your business and your leadership once a month to make sure that you're progressing along the roadmap the right way. I do that as well.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of fun for me because I am all about guiding discovery. That's what gets me excited. And by guiding those discoveries, I help people find the next thing that they're passionate in and passionate about. So I particularly live in five key areas: retail and restaurants, food and beverages, entertainment, media, and fandom brands, entertainment, media, and sports, as well as B2B companies that appeal to marketers. So I have a lot of services on my website, which is getathirdarm.com. But I also have something that is for the discussion that we've been having. It's called the Partnership Framework Evaluation Tool. And it's just a way to think through all of the things I've been talking about with partnerships, equity, outcomes, assets, and just an easy checklist to start thinking about so they can go to my website and download that as a PDF.
Okay, that's perfect. I think that's definitely beneficial, and everyone should go out and download that from Third Arm. And I know that you shared your website, but can you share where else anyone can locate you and find you online?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn
Okay.
at Melissa Richards person
Hmm.
on LinkedIn. You can follow me. I do content throughout the week. I do Touchpoint Tuesdays, which is all about breaking down a particular touch point in the consumer journey, like email. And how do you make your email a little bit better, a little bit more effective? Or thinking about billboards and how to make really great billboards and some of the mistakes of
Hmm.
billboards. I do how you can pull pop culture or marketing lessons from pop culture or sports. And I do Hype Women Wednesdays, where I lift up women business owners and small businesses and entrepreneurs, as well as Foodie Fridays, doing spotlights on great food and beverage and
Hmm.
restaurant entrepreneurs, and breaking down restaurant concepts that I think are really interesting and different. So I'm on LinkedIn, and then I'm also Third Arm Consulting is also on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
those are the best ones. I'm also on Instagram as at Melrich44, where I'm posting about pop culture, food, beverages, and you'll probably see a few pictures of my 3 cats as well.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for all that information, Melissa. And I'll be sure to include all of those links in the show notes so no one will have any trouble finding you or locating you on the web. But again, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Great Grace and Growth and sharing your insights on how to build unstoppable partnerships and reminding us that partnerships are built on trust, vision, and collaboration. And when done right, we can aim towards extraordinary growth. Thank you, Melissa.
It's been great partnering with you on the podcast, Laura.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.